I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Hey guys, Fleet Foxes is coming to San Antonio May 8th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. at the Tobin Center downtown. My listeners will get a 5% discount if they go to my website at fascinationstreetpod.com, click on the Support the Show page, and then click on the picture of Fleet Foxes. So enjoy Fleet Foxes, and thanks for supporting me. Hey guys, you've heard me talk about 5-4 Club before. I've been a member for over 2 years. Anyway, they changed their name to Menlo Club so they can incorporate all of their different brands. So I was talking to the cool kids that run it the other day, and they are offering my listeners a special offer. When you go to the menlohouse.com, that's TheMenlohouse.com, and sign up for their service and put in promo code FSP, as in Fascination Street Podcast, you'll get your first 2 months at 50% off. But remember, you have to put in the promo code FSP. This is a limited time offer, so don't pass it up.
Do you like eating sand? What about talc or titanium dioxide? The fact is, 99% of all vitamins on the market contain unnecessary and potentially toxic additives. That's why we've created Pure Vitamin Club. Our daily multicap is a carefully balanced formulation of the 13 essential vitamins plus 11 key minerals with no added ingredients of any kind. Just the nutrients your body needs to function at its best. But no vitamin will do you any good unless you actually take it. So we've made that easy for you. Pure Vitamin Club will deliver your vitamins to your door for pennies a day. Pure Vitamin Club.
Click on the Pure Vitamin Club bottle on the right side of the screen of this podcast webpage to get started.
Hey guys, a little bit ago I was in Las Vegas and I had a chance to sit down with the owner of an indie record label, but this record label has a little bit of a twist in that he only puts out cassettes. No Sky Cassettes. His name is Brett V. He's a musician and a pretty nice guy. So check him out. Alright guys, there's another giveaway in this episode. Make sure and tweet me at Fascination Street Pod and tell me that you listened to this episode. Brett was nice enough to provide me with a few things to give away to some lucky fans. So the first 5 people that tweet me that they listened to the episode will get either a cassette of his solo work or a vinyl 45 of his previous band Good Grief or of his solo stuff. Thanks guys!
Talk to me, yeah.
All right. Tell us all what your name is.
I'm Brett V.
Brett V. V-E-E?
Yeah.
All right. And I'm in Las Vegas, and I was in my hotel room, and I opened up the newspaper because there was an article about Bing Crosby and some 40th or 30th anniversary of who cares. On that same page was an article about you and your friend.
Bobby Franks, Running in Place Records.
It's kind of in the works that I might be able to get to talk to him. Maybe not in person while I'm here, but maybe over the phone once I get back. What this article said about you, Brett, is that you also have a record label, but you focus on, let's see if I got this right, cassettes as a format.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, tell me, are you from Las Vegas?
I grew up here, yeah.
Okay. Is this the only place you've ever lived?
No.
Where did you go?
Spent a little time in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, shit.
San Diego, California, and Los Angeles.
Rock on. And what brought you back here?
I ran out of money.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been into music?
That's a very broad question, Steve.
I know.
My parents showed me The Who when I was like 5.
Like 5, you said?
Yeah, but I don't know. That's like, everyone starts somewhere.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's worse places to start than The Who, right?
I hope so. I don't know. I can't start anywhere else.
So, do you play music?
Yeah. Wait, what? You know I play music, right?
Yeah, I do know
Yeah,
you play
okay.
music. But everybody who's listening doesn't.
All right, yeah. I play. I make music. I've done that in several different projects over the years. Most recently, I've started doing music by myself as a solo thing.
Okay.
And yeah, there's really not much more to that.
The very opening of my show,
Yeah.
the music is by a guy named Douglas Miles Clark, and he is from Canada, and I
Okay.
met him in San Antonio, and also he makes music by himself. He plays everything, records everything, sings everything.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing that?
So
I'm looking around, I'm seeing all kinds of equipment and amps and drums and stuff.
yeah, so
Guitars and...
I like to tell people my place is kind of rustic. It's a working environment. I have my dining room filled with stuff that I use for music and not dining.
Right.
But anyway, so I don't know, it's kind of this thing. I started playing in these loud screamy bands that...
Like Screamo?
No, but sure, for all intents and purposes. I mean, I could give you a very long-winded
I mean, like
explanation.
AFI kind of stuff? or-
No, a little bit more rough around the edges, I would say. A little heavier and,
Okay.
and less friendly.
Less
to,
polished?
Sure, why not? It's I mean, I can show you later. But anyway, I was doing that, and like prior to that, I had been in a bunch of bands as like a teenager. You know, like I just know like none of them were good. I wasn't any kind of prodigy or anything like that.
But it was fun?
No, it was mostly frustrating.
Nice.
And eventually I kind of was just like, I'm going to focus on other aspects of my life. Pardon me, I'm going to take a sip.
That's just straight Woodford Reserve, folks.
Water. So, yeah, like none of my bands were good. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know... Like I just went through what I would call like a prolonged period of more or less arrested development in my tastes and feeling confident about what I liked and what I maybe wanted to do. And I think that anytime you try to make music without what I'd consider like a clarity of vision for something, it's just going to come out as like, you know, just stupid bullshit. And like sometimes that's cool, but like not if you're actually trying to do something and you just don't know what it is, you know?
Okay.
Like you can do stuff that's completely off the top for the sake of doing it, and it can come out great if you're good enough. But if you're like, I want to do a band that sounds like whatever this genre is, and then you just only have kind of an idea of how or why that genre exists and how to get to that point, it's not going to be good. Why would it be good? It's going to be some weird half-brained approximation of what that is. And sometimes that's good in and of itself, but very rarely. And I was not fortunate in that way.
What instruments do you play?
On these recordings, I play everything. I started playing, well, officially, I started playing classical piano when I was a child, but I'm not very disciplined, so I didn't play enough, and I wasn't good at it, and eventually I lost interest in it, and then I got a guitar. That's where everything from that kind of turned into this. It's been a long, winding road.
Said somebody famous once. So, you play drums, you play keyboard, you play guitar, do you play bass?
I mean, on these recordings...
I
There's-
just mean in general.
I would never say I play keyboard.
You wouldn't?
Or drums.
Even though you grew up playing piano?
I wouldn't say I grew up playing piano. I played piano as a child and then lost interest in it and then played guitar.
Gotcha.
It was like a 4-year span there.
Okay.
Like, I didn't keep practicing. I always say I really regret that because I feel like it would be pretty beneficial to know how to play the piano, just in life, and with the things I like to do.
You know, I've
So-
often thought that about myself, and I don't play any instruments, but I was like, it'd be fucking badass if I could just bang out one awesome song on the piano. Just one.
I mean, I don't know about like doing it as like a party trick. I'm talking more practical application. I guess that's practical depending on who you want to be at the party. I just think like the parts I play, which none of my recordings have keyboards on them for my solo stuff. So before I did the solo stuff, okay, so I kind of got a little tangential there, but I was playing in these screamy bands, and then before that, all those bands that I played in when I was in high school were like these melodic bands, but you know, they were just, like I said, directionless pop punk bands or emo bands or what have you, and you know, it's just, it wasn't good, and that's fine. But at the point where I started playing in screamy bands, that's where I was like, or hardcore bands, that's where I was like, oh, I can do this stuff that's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be catchy in what I would say is like a traditional way. Like maybe if we just play and we get the tones right and we figure out how to put songs together, like whatever our sound will make sense. And like, so playing in hardcore bands was how I kind of figured that out. And from there, that's where I kind of figured out what songwriting actually was. It was like this weird reverse deconstruction thing. And so eventually we got to a point where, you know, I was pretty happy with the bands I was doing of that nature. We were doing stuff that seemed to work out. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could put together a band that's like melodic again. If I could play melody and like hooks and like sing, I don't know. And it was always something I kind of wanted to do. I like power pop stuff, just guitar driven pop in general, you know, really catchy stuff, punk and what have you. And so it was just this long thing of me being like, I don't know if I could ever make music like that again. And then I don't even remember, I went through a really bad breakup and I started writing songs about that, and that was kind of how it turned into it, yeah. And that I started this pop punk band called Good Grief.
Called Good Grief?
Good Grief, yeah.
Here in town?
I'll give you one of those.
That'd be great.
I'm a reactor. I don't know what I do. I'm a reactor, baby. And I'm reacting to you. I'm a reactor. I don't know what I do. I'm a reactor, baby. And I'm reacting to you. I'll wait for you to make a move and see how it'll be. I'm reacting to you. You're reacting to me. Say. I'm a reactor. I'm a reactor, baby. I don't know what I'll do. I'm a reactor, baby. And I'm reacting to you. I'm a reactor. I'm a reactor. I'm a reactor.
We put out an EP. We also put out a single, and that was with the previous members of Good Grief ran a different record label before the one I'm doing, and so we did one tape and we did one record. Yeah, like we recorded everything here. I have a 4-track tape machine, Tascam thing, and I recorded us. I mean, looking back on it, I've done better recording since then, but you know.
On the same equipment? Is that what you use now?
Yeah, that's actually what I've recorded. Everything that I put out for my solo stuff, except for the EP, that was recorded at 11th Street Records with Ronald Corso and Malcolm Harrison. Fine, consummate professionals. Go check them out for all of your high-end recording needs.
There you go.
11th Street Records, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, so you touched on it briefly. You mentioned that you record on cassettes.
Not exclusively, it's a mixed medium.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
So tell me why cassettes?
Oh, do you mean like why do I release cassettes?
Yeah.
They're affordable, and
Are they making a comeback?
I don't know. I don't think so.
The article made it sound like they are.
The article's an article.
It is. That's true.
I mean, I don't necessarily completely disagree. I would say that cassettes are now more relevant than they were, say, 10 years ago, you know? But is it going to become like a format that is popular and people want to listen to in their car? Like, I don't know. Clearly that's stupid. Like, it's collectible in the same way that records are, kind of, you know?
Okay.
But it's more that it's accessible, you know? That's what draws me to it. And I can have them manufactured to make them look nice, you know? Do you want to?
I would love to see one.
Here. This is the second one.
And
You
so
can see
you
it.
have these done.
Yeah, like I have my artist that I work with, and he does design for me. His name's Elliot Lund, and he does all the stuff you see there that's visual. And then we have our tapes manufactured at A to Z Audio in, I believe it's Parma, Ohio. And they have excellent turnaround times, great customer service, and you know, you don't have to wait nearly as long as you do to get vinyl pressed. And again, like, it's just so much more affordable. It's really realistic. The fact that people don't necessarily have tape decks like they have turntables, that's whatever. I mean, at one point people didn't have turntables like they had tape decks or CD players, so it's neither here nor there. I know I have a tape deck. I know that I have a decent amount of tapes that I've accumulated over the years just because bands have kind of never stopped putting out tapes, even though it's like they do it less.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, at least in the realm of the music that I listen to and
What's
the shows
the
that I
most
go to.
current cassette that you've purchased?
Are you looking at a stack of them right here?
So this whole stack right here?
So this is the Hot Breath cassette. This is a band, like a power pop band from Portland. This is the No cassette, power pop or a hardcore band from Portland. The Moonblood EP that's coming out on Running in Place Records. This is a cassette version of that Running in Place put out. This is the Daisy Duke single by Deuce.
Really?
That's from like 1990.
That's awesome.
Here we have local band Headwinds Cruel World cassette on Don't Look Down Records or cassettes or whatever you want to call that. That's this year. Stiff Love, band from Olympia, Washington. Incredible. I mean, these are all new cassettes. Like, people keep putting them out, you know? Like, I mean, there's mine, obviously.
Now, it's been a while since I bought a cassette.
Mm-hmm.
Can you buy those online? I don't think
I think it'd probably be easier to buy them online than anywhere else.
So,
Otherwise, you have to track down a specialty shop or go to a thrift store.
well, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I guess my question is, like, is there one website where you can go to browse, or are you having to go to each individual record label's website?
No, there's labels that do it still too. Like, you know, man, I mean,
So I guess, like, how do you find out that these, like, let's say
how do
these-
you find
these-
out they exist?
Yeah, like, how did you find out these? Well, I know how you found out this one, but how do you find out that these others exist?
Either through going to shows and seeing the bands, or finding them online, or seeing them posted on message boards or on social media, you know? It's easier. Like I keep saying, it's easier than ever. Now, easier than ever. Find punk bands on the internet.
So I've been to a few punk pop shows, and I don't remember seeing any cassettes at the merch table.
It just depends on where you're going.
Well,
you
that's
know?
a good point.
Like, there's a line. There's, like, you read in the article, a scene that has many layers. I wouldn't call it stratum. There's bands that are like, we're going to make it, and we're going to be professionals, and we're going to have our shit in road cases, and we're going to show up early, and we're going to fucking do our hair. I don't know how, like, I know my hair's done right now. It's just a coincidence. I got a haircut today. I didn't know I was going to do this interview. Like, seriously, we booked it over the course of 20 minutes. I had no clue. Coincidence. Anyway, I don't do this every day. I just fucking comb my hair. It's whatever. The point being, those bands typically aren't going to put out cassettes until cassettes gain some kind of, like, thing where it's, like, the cool thing for them, they think, to do.
Like
would be to
vinyl
put
has
out.
recently.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like to believe that people genuinely like records, you know, and not that it's just the cool thing to do. But I'm also kind of bummed because records used to be the cheaper option, so now they're really expensive.
They are expensive.
Like, when I was coming up, you'd look at the CD and it would be like $16 to $18, and the LP would be like $9 or something.
Right.
You know, supply and demand, right?
Yeah, that's true. I guess if a record company is not making like an actual vinyl pressing company is not making as many, they got to charge more per unit. So I have two children, and they're in their early to mid 20s, and both of them listen to vinyl all the time.
Sure.
My son has a couple of cassettes. I don't think my daughter does. When you're just kicking it, like, let's just say an hour before I got here,
Yep.
and you're listening to music, are you listening to it on cassette?
It just depends on the release. Like, when I get the record of this thing, I will probably not listen to this cassette anymore.
Because you prefer vinyl?
No, it's just
Because?
yeah, just because, I mean, I guess I prefer it, but, like, at the same time, it's a little bit more practical. I don't know why. It feels it. Like, it's easier to work with.
That makes sense.
Fewer working parts. I don't really have to worry about the tape eating itself.
Right.
You know, I think probably records sound a little better.
But tapes don't get scratched.
Yeah, that's true. But they do get crinkled.
That's true.
And also, it's a lossy format. I'm not trying to convince people not to buy tapes. Clearly, this is what I'm trying to put out into the
Sure.
world. Let me tell you why tapes suck.
No.
There's lots of reasons why it's like it became what people considered a dead format. People would have said the same thing about records.
If it wasn't for hipsters. Well, I mean, I feel like it was hipsters that made vinyl have a comeback.
I can't really acknowledge that. Sorry, Steve. I know you said a thing and you want me to talk back about it, but
No worries.
thank you. Thank you for letting me off the hook on that.
No.
I don't know, man. Like, the fact of the matter is...
Oh, cool, Iron Maiden. Lagwagon? Damn, you're not fucking around.
I have broad tastes.
You do have broad taste. Boys to Men? No, I'm just kidding. That was a...
There's SWV.
Oh, there you
and
go.
H-Town.
Nice.
Arrested Development. That's what I'm going to put on. I don't know, man. What I meant to say is, whatever the thing is released on, if you need to have it, then you'll have it on that. So if someone puts out a CD and I really want it, I'll just buy the CD, even though I don't usually buy CDs. And then I'll have a CD. Oh, well. I mean, I do have some.
Sure.
People get hung up about weird things when it comes to music. Like, sometimes I'll show someone a song and they'll tell me, like, what they would do differently, you know? And I think that's such a strange approach to take when you're telling someone what you think of probably any art or anything that's creative, you know? Like, it kind of comes to a point where it's like, okay, here's this thing, and someone's like, well, I think you should have played the drums different, or I think you should have played, like, lead guitar different there.
You need to stop hanging out with those people.
No, that's fine. I get what I need from the people that I need it from, you know? Like, there's usually a couple of people that I'll go, like the same people that I'll show everything I do to. And if they have something to say about it, then I'll take it into consideration. But then there's other people where they don't even say whether or not they like it. Their first instinct is to tell you what they would do differently. And I'm like, that's just a strange thing, because, like, I doubt that when someone was like, hey, take a look at this painting by this, you know, like this Vincent van Gogh painting or whatever, the first thing you did was probably not take a look at it and decide what you would have done different. But if you've never heard of, you know, the masters, and you don't know anything about painting, and you have no idea who Vincent van Gogh is, someone just shows you a painting and tells you it's Vincent van Gogh, what's to stop you from thinking that way? And is that how you thought about that? And if that is, I mean, that's like cool, very creative way of thinking, but at the same time, like, that's like, you know, a thing that's just existed that this one particular guy put out into the world the way it is. Just let it be the way it fucking is, you know? I don't necessarily think, like, music criticism is a bad thing, but I do think that people could be a little bit more graceful with it than they tend to be, you know? It's just like, okay, so you've told me what it is, and you've told me, like, kind of sort of what you like about it, but, like, maybe you could do this in a more interesting way.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think we've kind of gotten away from Couth.
From what? Couth?
Couth.
Couth?
I just think that we've gotten a little far away from being respectful when we talk to other people, not just about music, but...
It's not even respectful, because, like, I think there's a lot of value in giving music bad reviews if you think it's bad. I don't want anyone to tell me they think my music is good if they think it's bad. I don't want anyone to come see me if they wouldn't have just come see me anyway because they don't know me. They just want to see what it is and what's happening. Like, I'm flattered when people want to do that for me. It's very sweet. But at the same time, it's like, please don't put yourself out, make yourself uncomfortable for me because I did a thing. Just because I did a thing, by no means do I deserve attention. I should be getting attention for it if people like it. And that's kind of that. I mean, if people find it interesting or fascinating, as it were.
Well, what I mean, I guess, I don't mean that I'm looking for people to, butter your bread or anything. I just mean, instead of saying the glass is half full, I think we've sort of transformed into a glass half empty, kind of the way we deal with each other. Like...
on a one-on-one basis?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, people are, well, I don't know, where are you coming from again?
San Antonio?
San Antonio, Texas. It's kind of like, when I leave Las Vegas, I find that I encounter kind people. You know what I mean?
Right.
People that you can talk to. For instance, a person like yourself.
Thank you.
Here in Las Vegas, people aren't nice. This is a very inhospitable... As much as the whole city is based around hospitality, I think it's like... It's an adversarial environment. Everyone seems like they're trying to push people out of the way. And like they're trying to be like, let me be the one to do whatever it is, And everyone thinks that it's kind of like you can just declare yourself something without having to work for it, and then everyone just kind of owes it to you to help you become that in reality. I don't think I'm doing anything super special here, man. Like, I'm putting out tapes. Most of them currently are mine, so it's like not even super crazy, I'm putting out some friends of mine. Band Homebodies. Homebodys when you search for it on the internet. And then prior to that, my good friend Aldred, who does a little guest spot on vocals on my EP that I have, that I'll give you a copy of. He also played in a band before that called Special K. I'm going to put out a tape by them. The only reason that I want to put this stuff out is because I listened to it and I was like, hey, this is great. No one's going to put this out, it sounds like. Like, they're not telling me that people are putting it out. They're not telling me they're sending it out necessarily. So I was like, hey, what do you think if I put out a tape of this? And they're into it, obviously, you know? It's just kind of like, I find that there's people that I'm able to connect to, and there's people that I'm not able to connect to. And something about this city is pretty isolating to me, you know? I have a very core group of people that I can go to that really know what's going on with me. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I try to keep it to, because the more I let in, the more I find that, like, everything gets fucked up. And it happens over and over again, kind of cyclically. Cyclical. Yeah.
That makes complete and total sense. I find that I'm not going to say the less friends, but like the less people that I interact with on a regular basis, the circle, if you will, feel like the less people that are in that circle, the less it goes awry.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just less information to pass around. It makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, this is a thing I encounter in life over and over again, especially like here in Las Vegas again. But maybe that's just my observation because I'm always here and this is all I can observe, right? But I will say that generally, people have this weird thing where they expect people to be rude. They expect people to be rude, and then to that point, they try to be rude first, or they're just ready to be rude back no matter what you give them. And I try to do not that. I may not be the most approachable guy, and when you actually talk to me, maybe I won't even be that friendly. But in and of itself, if you approach me for whatever, and I feel like you deserve my attention, then I will typically respond to you like I respect you, because you haven't done anything to not be disrespectful yet other than ask for my attention. And that in and of itself is not necessarily a problem. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I wish more people acted that way. I lived in San Antonio for about 40 years, and then I moved to Louisville, Kentucky for about a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
And when I got to Louisville, the way I would describe it is that if niceness is on a scale of 1 to 10, then what I'm used to in San Antonio is about a 4.5 or a 5. But while I was in Louisville, I noticed that it was somewhere around a 7.5 or an 8 as far as how nice people are.
I work with a lot of people from Louisville.
Are they nice?
Most of them are nice. Some of them are like regular people with emotional disorders.
There you go.
But yeah, a lot of them are very like overtly friendly, like really go out of their way to try and make you feel like you're welcome in their life. Which is, the opposite of Vegas. And a lot of them have learned that, and it's kind of sad to see them have that
Really? They're
kind of trounced out of them. Yeah. It's really sad, because they came here and a lot of them were like very bright and, inspiring people. And over the years, I've watched them like, some of them, not all of them, obviously. Some of them are great, but like, they're still thriving, But there's been a few where it's just like, oh man, you're so sad, and I feel like it's because you came here and people were shitty. I guess you can find that anywhere. I need to stop just attributing that to Las Vegas. Apparently, you're getting 5s out in San Antonio. Yeah. What are we here? Like 3s?
From the people that I've interacted with,
yeah,
it's probably somewhere around 4.5, something like that. It's on a nicer scale. But I will say that one thing that really blows me away, and I don't know if it's just because it's so rare to see anywhere else, but I feel like everybody here smokes cigarettes.
I don't.
Well, there you go. Like every casino I've walked into, I feel like I have emphysema by the time I get through the casino.
A lot of people consider it part of the culture here because you were allowed to smoke in wherever for so long. Like, it was a really long time before they changed that.
Like, you're not allowed to smoke everywhere here?
I'm pretty sure there's places that you used to be able to where you no longer can, yeah.
Interesting.
Like,
everywhere else.
As a guy who doesn't smoke and never has, it's never been a thing that I cared about. So
right.
I have a hard time paying attention or
really
caring.
I only notice it really because I have pretty weak lungs and I'm often getting breathing treatments and asthma and shit like that. So.
I smoke a lot of weed, so...
Right. Are you comfortable with saying that?
Yes,
Is that cool?
Sure.
Okay.
So, I never smoked anything until I started smoking weed, and then, I was like, oh, this totally affects your lungs. How about that? Like, you're smoking a thing, huh?
Do you feel like your lungs are affected?
Yeah, a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. If you listen to the second song on that second tape, I recorded it 10 years ago when I was in Vancouver, the acoustic song. if you pay attention, that's fine. Like you can hear the difference in my voice after. Like that was the year I started smoking weed, so that was 2007. So that's 10 years of smoking. You can hear a pretty noticeable difference, I think.
Gotcha. Cool. So, your record company is called No Sky?
No Sky Cassette Tapes.
Why No Sky? Wait, let me guess.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people say, sky is the limit.
Yeah.
And you're like, there is no sky. There's no limits.
That's exactly it.
Is it?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, don't try to bend the spoon, there is no spoon, like that?
Yes, it's very high concept.
Sweet. Nice. What made you come up with that?
It's a song title. That wasn't it at all. I'm sorry.
Oh, great, thanks. Damn it. Make me feel like an ass. So
I was hoping you wouldn't have any follow-ups.
Nice. So is it one of your songs?
No.
No?
It's a Guided by Voices song.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Rock on. Where can people go to peruse and purchase your available cassettes?
So you can go to noskycassettetapes.bigcartel.com. That's where you contacted me through, right? That's our online store. You can purchase all of our releases, plus some associated releases from the likes of Desert Hospitality Recording Company and Running In Place Records. In addition to that, you can contact me at Brett V, that's BRETTVEE 666 at gmail.com. If you want to hear that again, just rewind your player because I don't feel like repeating it.
Nice.
Otherwise, you can hear my music at brettv.bandcamp.com. It's also on iTunes and Spotify. I am not on Twitter. No Sky Cassette Tapes is available on Instagram at NoSkyCT, at NoSkyCT. That's all of the silly stuff that I have to say about those kinds of things.
In the article, it kind of said that your goal is not to get rich doing this. Your goal is to put out music of people that you enjoy and people that you feel like you're having fun.
Yeah.
Are you focused locally?
No.
So you're everywhere?
I'm currently just locally, but if there's something that's not local that I end up wanting to put out, I'm gonna put it out if I can. Not staying away from that to focus entirely here. I don't know if I'll necessarily always be here, so I try not to think that way.
Sure. So since you're not trying to get rich off of this,
Yeah.
do you have any short or long-term goals for the company?
No.
No? Just whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, exactly. To put out the stuff I like, and that's that. Hopefully people get into it enough to want it, and then they'll pick it up for one reason or another from me or from the band, or they'll listen to it in some way, shape, or form, and it'll be good for them. And that's really it. I don't know, like, it's cool that people can sometimes make money doing this stuff. I'm not out to be like, hey, you should never make money from your music. But like, I'm kind of the opinion that if that kind of thing is supposed to happen, it'll happen. And it's just about being prepared to accept that kind of opportunity when it comes and to have it be right for me or whomever, really. But people don't always think that way. They just think like, success by whatever means necessary.
Right.
Give me what's coming to me.
You owe me.
Yeah, no one owes me anything. I try to work out deals with people with the tapes where it's just like cut and dry. You give me this, I give you this amount of tapes, and then we're done. And then if we want more tapes, we'll come to some kind of agreement later. But otherwise, they're free to take their recordings and go wherever they want with them. And they don't owe me anything. Like,
Really?
Why would they owe me anything? You know, that's not my music.
So, so your kind of method is per record. Like you don't have a contract with anybody.
No.
Hey, I want to put out this record.
Yeah.
Hey, cool. And then for the next record, hey, I want to put out this record?
Usually I'll have kind of like a discussion between the artist and myself, and I'll say, here's the split of the amount of items we're getting. You don't have to give me anything more than this. So if it's recordings, give me the recordings. If it's art, give me the art. Obviously, it's usually both of those things to some extent. And then from there, I pay for the manufacturing, and then it gets sent back to me, and then I give them their cut. And it's typically just, if you want to do more of these, let me know and we'll talk. At this point, it hasn't come up, so.
So you have a certain amount made, and
Yeah.
then who pays for the recording time?
Them.
Them.
The recordings are theirs.
So they just bring you a recording.
Yeah.
Okay. And,
Typically, they already have the recording. I've heard it, and then I'm like,
Right.
let me put that out.
okay.
Yeah. I'm not trying to like commission anyone to do a thing for me.
Right.
It's usually something that already exists that I'm like, hey, is that going anywhere? If it's not going anywhere, let me put it somewhere.
Gotcha.
That sounds weird.
Well, it does. But I like where that's at, because you're not saying, hey, you need to go into the studio and spend all this money and all these hours doing this. You're basically saying, give me your already finished product and let's just put it in this other format.
I mean, that's kind of how it worked with my record. I had recorded it, and then it was just kind of sitting there. And I was like, well, what are you going to do with that? And I was like, I'll probably just send it to some labels, I guess, maybe. And then a label came to me.
That's kick-ass.
It's luck.
Still kick-ass.
Sure. Of all the guys in the world that could know another guy in the world, I happen to be that guy in the world.
Who knows a guy?
Like,
So you're a guy who knows a guy.
I'm a guy. I know a guy. It's the same on both sides.
No, that's cool as shit.
Program repeats.
I think that's great. Is there, before I let you go, because I know that you have somewhere to be,
Sure.
is there anything that you want to tell everybody who's listening about either your music or your company that I didn't already ask you, or, I mean, maybe about cassettes or vinyl in general? I mean, is there anything you want to say that I didn't ask you?
No.
Nice.
Not at all. I would say that overall about everything, like stuff if you like stuff, and don't just like stuff because other people like stuff.
I like it.
Be true to your school. I've
school?
taken it too far.
Holy shit.
But yeah, no. Don't be so concerned. You know, don't worry about that so much.
Cool.
Clearly, there's much worse things to worry about, like your character.
Wow, I feel like that was a personal attack. Just kidding.
You're sitting on my futon.
I am
Remember?
sitting on your futon.
Clearly, I'm the one who's liking character here.
Well, Brett, I want to thank you very much for your time. I thank you for reaching back out to me. I mean, like I said, I just opened the paper and I was like, because the name of the podcast is Fascination Street, and I said, this dude is fascinating. This is a fascinating story. I mean, I've never even heard of anybody who has a cassette-only record label. That's just fucking phenomenal.
There's out there, and they're doing it more noticeably than I am. So, just do a little search. You'll find them. Might be not quite. I don't know what their motives are or how interesting they'll be as dudes, but you know, I can't take all the credit for that. But I'm happy that you struck on mine to maybe see where else you can go with that. I'm intrigued.
Me too, man.
Fascinated.
Nice. Do you have limits? Like, do you have an order limit?
Order limit?
Well, like if somebody brings you a recording and says, you know, I want 100,000 of these, is that out of?
Yes, that's completely out of.
That's out of the.
Out of the. Well, I mean, like, if I've got that kind of, I guess, capital potentially coming in, I could probably work something out with my partners.
Right.
But at this point, 100,000, that's wild. I would never understand why there would be that kind of need for anything that I'm currently putting out. Not that I would be mad if it happened.
Right.
That would be wonderful for everyone involved. But no, we're dealing on much smaller scales. My pressings usually run between sometimes as small as 20 and sometimes as numerous as 300 at this point. That is the most of anything I've released. I've put out 300 copies of one tape, and then I put out 300 copies of the Good Grief EP.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I like to think that I'm not going to oversaturate the world with anything that I do for no reason. If people want it, I'd be happy to keep making it. If that's how it works out, it's going to be a beast that feeds itself, I guess, is how I look at it,
Cool.
I've got that initial investment involved, and then from there, if there's for some reason a need for more, then I'll consider making more. But otherwise, nah. That's an interesting question.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And rewind and listen to all the ways to reach out to this dude, whether it was the company Instagram or hit him up just at the company website.
Hey, that works.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
Later.
Hey guys, if you like what I'm doing, rate and review the podcast on iTunes and wherever else you're getting the podcast. And if you do order things from Amazon, it would really help me out if you use that Amazon banner that's on the website at fascinationstreetpod.com and just click through whenever you're buying stuff from Amazon. You can click through the first time and then save that to your favorites or bookmark it, and every time you use it, you don't have to go to the website to get there. I appreciate it, guys. Enjoy. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.